Good morning, guys. Trying to get this prompt because there are quite a bit of things going on. So first, there are some faces both on Zoom and in the room that I don't recognize. So if we could go around and meet the visitors. I think Matt.
Oh yes, I'm a visitor. Hello everybody.
Welcome, Matt.
I'm president of Lost Coast Rotaract this year. So I come here and get a little Rotaract update and update everybody on what we got going on. All right. We have Cecelia Eggleston.
She is on Zoom.
Yes, and she's a scholarship, recurring scholarship, who's going to give us an update today.
She's killing it at UCLA.
Yes.
She's not messing around. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Marty Sullivan, and I'm a guest of Lisa and Chris's daughter. And our children are married, and we share grandkids, and I'm a member of San Francisco Rotary #2, the second oldest Rotary.
We have an interactor.
Yeah, this is Kyra. She is finishing her first term at RCAS. Straight A's. Sophomore, straight A's.
Okay.
One of our muralists for the bathrooms, and she's an interactive member.
All right. Are you going to pastel it on the plaza? Maybe? No.
Yeah, we have another person.
Okay, sorry. And then,
It's not somebody who's here, but Tom's mustache is missing. That's the one. What happened?
And so is Howard's hair.
anyway, at this front table, we have our speaker.
Oh, hi. I'm Tia Veritelli from Houses.
Yes. So just to celebrate all of you busy Rotarians, it's been 2 weeks since I've put up pictures, but there's Out of the Darkness walk. Yay.
Thank you, everybody. And everybody who supported it. Please show up.
We took a field trip to the future home of Nordic Farms, and Scott Thompson was very generous with his expertise. All of our questions, I think he said, I don't know, twice in 1 hour of just straight peppering of questions. Thank you to Ian for the photographs and the beautiful sunrise.
Oh, Ian, you do the sunrises now too?
There was a fellowship on the Mattakit on Tuesday. That was also Ian's birthday.
Amazing weather.
And really, okay, so we had a board meeting this week. We had community service had a meeting. There was fellowship. And I think AJ gets the prize for being at every single one of them. Really impressive. And he took Tom's mustache. So. And then I just wanted to do a little Facebook hunting. So sorry. Tom, where were you?
I was in Paris.
On business?
It's always business. I went to the first week I went to New York actually, and I went to a surprise party for a friend. And there was a number of people from Arcata who went there. And I thought, well, since I'm in New York and I haven't had a holiday this year, but I'll sit in Paris for another few days and hang out with some friends of mine. And it was great. I love Paris, my favorite city. Yeah.
There were less incriminating pictures, but this was my favorite. There were less incriminating pictures, but this was my favorite. And then new wheels. Janice got some new wheels.
Yep.
She celebrated. Oh, hi, Janice. And then this is an old school from Bob Johnson. Is Joyce in the room?
I am.
Oh. So we're to recognize the recognizer is.
Yeah, well, that is, we have a cabin, that's not the cabin, in Willow Creek that is next to it. We ended up getting the property next to it that had that on it, which is sort of, we bought it as our kids get older and their husbands get more resourceful, that they would remodel that cabin. So we boarded it up with old plywood in our garage, which were those signs which were from 1997. So, and I have some sweatshirts that I yeah, so Bob thought it was funny. You can't see that from the street. You have to be on the property and look back. It makes my kids laugh every time they see it too.
Does it still exist like this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But they're now actually talking about what they're gonna do to it.
Hey, all right, progress.
Signs though, right? Oh, yeah. Well, no, we got a picture. We don't- I'm cleaning out 3 different places of stuff, so keeping things is like a no.
So I mentioned we had a board meeting on Tuesday morning. Thank you, AJ, for hosting. It looks like a lot of fun from this picture. But the good news is this is your Rotary dollars at work. So all the fundraising efforts we do, this is how we get to share it and spend it. The most exciting things are RILA. We are sending 2 students to RILA this year instead of 1. And then we're gonna share $2,000 to Lost Coast Rotaract. And if you wanna come up here and talk a little bit about
Please, yeah.
how you're gonna spend it.
I'd love to. Hello, everybody. Again, my name is Pat Cendejas, for those who don't know me. I'm the president of Lost Coast Rotaract. And so a few things we've done this year so far, this calendar year. We have done the annual event for North Coast Regional Land Trust. Had a few members there and had a potential new member show up for that event, which was exciting. Then we did Martinis by the Bay and Cook Your Own Steak Night, which was super fun events. Always a good time over there. And so we're excited to continue the inertia that we have because a little lull, a little hiatus in the last couple of years. So our members got a little relaxed but we're kind of using this momentum we have right now to continue the force. So that means new members, hoping to be asked to volunteer at events that maybe some of you are hosting in here. Okay, if you're not yet, please use us. We love to be used resource. On Saturday? We're down for Saturday. So yeah, really just want to show face here and let you all know that we're ready and able to be a resource to interview for events. So that's really what we love doing. We love hosting events. We're not going to do Spirits and Spirits. It hurts our soul. It does. I know. I'm so sorry to be the messenger for that. But we're going to continue doing what we do best, and that's helping in any way we can. We do have some plans for hosting an event with a local nonprofit. It's called Hounds for Humboldt. So nothing too solidified there yet, but we are in the works of hoping to create an event because that's also our passion too. Other than volunteering, we like to create and host events too. Yeah, please.
What for Humboldt?
It's called Hounds of Humboldt.
Hounds?
Yeah, Hounds of Humboldt. It's a pretty new business. Gloria is the business owner. She's doing a mobile dog park. So they've done multiple pop-up dog parks at Mad River Brewery, bring your dog and have a beer kind of thing. And so she's trying to create kind of a mobile pop-up dog situation around Humboldt. So many people have dogs here, and there's not a lot of dog parks. I don't know if that's an issue for dog owners, but she wants to create a space for humans and dogs to collaborate. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Trying to do some of that. But is there any questions about Rotaract? Or Lost Coast Rotaract? Oh, was it?
Members?
How many? We have about 8 right now, and hopefully two new ones coming in shortly.
And anybody that knows any young people 18 to 30 that might be interested in service, we don't have the one that we were kind of so close to related to, so this one's in Eureka, but it's the same.
Yeah, please send anybody. What was that?
Where and when do you meet?
Oh, we meet on Tuesdays right now at Bittersweets. However, not every Tuesday. We're doing a bi-weekly, so every other Tuesday. at 6:30. So let me know if you'd like to join us and make sure they're on a day that we're there and not, on the lull
In
Tuesday.
Arcata?
In Arcata, yeah.
Nice.
Mhm. We're a Eureka Club. Sometimes we meet in Eureka, but recently, since all of our members are in Arcata, we're finding ourselves being a mobile meetup in Arcata right now. Yeah.
Jay, would you send the Oktoberfest sign up genius to Matt?
Oh, yeah, that sounds fun. Ooh, wine by the sea, yes. Any other questions? Yeah.
It's not the age
What was that?
It's not the age one.
The age gap, there is no age gap. Thanks for asking. So we don't have a gap or like a cap, right, of 30-year-olds. So maybe we'll recruit everybody in here. Yeah, right.
Would you join us too?
One day, if there was a club, I may join this club. But I am turning 30 next month, so it's been in my head for 5 years that I will go to Rotary once I'm 30, and I can't stop time. I can't not turn 30, so I might have to join Rotary Club next year. I know there's no age gap, but I feel I'm ready.
Is that something about Rotary? There's no age gap?
Yeah, they turned Rotaractors into Rotary full returns.
Well, they always, yeah, they actually always have, they just haven't made more.
Well, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, any other questions for us? A little update on me currently. I'm teaching my 3rd year at College of the Redwoods. I teach business courses there. Also, I teach cannabis business courses through County of Humboldt for the last 7 months, helping all the farmers, cultivators, dispensary owners kind of survive the market right now. And also, I started a new business called Matthew's Lawn Care a couple months ago. So I'm doing lawn care, brush clearing, fire prevention around houses. So if anybody needs fire prevention cleanup, lawn care, I'm your person. But that's all. That's my shameless plug. And thank you so much for the board accepting to give us $2,000. That really helps us out. It's going to go in our general funds and help us, plan that next event or support, organizations in our community. So thank you. Oh yeah.
Was expecting it.
Right, yes. Yes, ma'am.
And then all jokes aside, I do need an extra volunteer for Saturday from 12 to 5 with Amy Scolari. We're doing Wild Souls, which is here for. So please contact me. There's music, there's food trucks, there's a kids thing. If you can't volunteer, please try to support Wild Souls. Hey, there we go. Call Andy or me.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm going to be there as well as volunteers.
It's like there was a slide for it. Okay, so I guess.
Oh, also tomorrow morning at the Sequoia Conference Center is the Humboldt Trails Summit. So if you're really interested in trails, Senator Mike Water will be there, updating about the Great Redwood Trail, also Hank Seaman about our Humboldt Bay Trail, and what that gets done, and a lot of other cool projects that are in making. So that's tomorrow. There's
Beautiful, thanks. Oh, so I have a question about dictionaries. We used to do this 2 years ago, and it's been dark for 2 years. And we thought there wasn't going to be an interest, but at the board meeting, there was passionate interest in it. Often, like, I thought they were antiquated. We have access to dictionaries on our phone. But these may be the only books these kids have in their house that are theirs alone. This is a powerful, like, where's Nick? Oh, if you've been to one, he said it's very powerful to watch them get them. Like, so it's like about $1,700. I just want to know in this room if you want them to continue, or we can figure out a different way to spend the money. Like, it doesn't matter. The money's there.
If you talk to the teachers, I mean, they're going to be the portal that's going to tell you how effective they are. Because one thing we used to see happen was we would deliver the dictionaries and the kids would take them home, but they would actually generate some coursework to get them to use the dictionaries. And I think the teachers report would be really important to see if they think it's.
We don't have to decide until the 26th. So I really just wanted to take the temperature in the room to see if you wanted. So if you raise your hand.
Yeah, again, I know that asking the teachers, because during COVID, when we asked them what they needed or wanted, the dictionaries was not what they wanted at that time, so we could revisit it.
Okay, so yeah, we'll just pursue. Rebecca?
I have a question. Have we thought about a different book? Because there's been issues with the quality of the dictionaries and just from a DEI perspective, just looking at the sensitivity of the dictionary. So I totally support a book, but is there a possibility of getting them like a different book that's maybe a little bit more culturally sensitive?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, this is a program that we don't implement until or maybe February, something like that.
No, we just have to have an
We
answer
just
by
have
then.
to order, yeah.
So, okay, we have some work to do.
Or we have to have an answer,
We need an answer by,
but we don't have to order them. So we have
Correct.
time to research.
we could figure
quality,
something else out.
Representative content.
But if it's gonna be dictionaries, it needs to be by the 26th.
It would probably change the cost because my understanding is it's a district-driven program.
Mhm.
They get like a whole huge truckload of books. Then they get sourced out to Rotary clubs that are in the program. So that kind of necessarily,
And it's not even specific to our area.
no,
Our
it's the
district,
entire
yeah, yeah.
district. And so it kind of.
No, I
it
mean,
kind of-
beyond our district.
So
It's
the
like
book is-
series.
The book
in
is kind
there.
of fixed by that part of the program, but if you want to get away from that part of the program, you certainly can. But it might change the cost.
All right. Noted. Oh, and DEI, $200 to Black Humboldt. I got the contact info last night. She wrote the check. That's happening.
And more about that, just a thank you to everybody, the Humboldt back to school kids and lots of people provided stuff that they needed and we also provided money. And one more time, shout out to Rebecca who broke into my house and got it all our sale and got it all over to the big distribution. But it's just awesome. I'm really thankful for all of the support for Black Humboldt events and for other work that we're doing to reach more diverse communities and do service. So thank you to everybody. Thanks for the donation of money too.
So there's a field trip option. Sorry, the thing's right in front of it. But Arcata Noon is doing a field trip to Miranda's Rescue next Wednesday, 6 o'clock, or I guess this coming up Wednesday, 6 o'clock. And Elizabeth is going to cater dinner. If anybody's interested, please let me know. If they need a count by Monday. Yeah, just let me know.
Speaking of needing an account by Monday.
Dude. All right. So shout out to Maggie for the one person that in this club that bought a ticket.
Really? Oh my! I like that. Well, I thought I heard that you bought one, so.
I mean,
No, just Maggie.
yeah.
Can everyone take out their phones right now?
So could we go back to the part of how we're good at spending money? Like, this is how we get to spend it, is that we have to raise it. So please participate in these fundraisers.
Like really, there's only 9 dinners sold. So if we don't sell at least 100, this event can't go forward. Like 9 dinners is all that's been sold so far. So that's how serious it is that like this would not happen unless we get people to actually buy the dinners and be able to sponsor the event also.
And have volunteers.
And Marty's going shopping on Monday, and if we don't have enough tickets sold, it's off.
Do we have the contact information of the people who bought tickets last year that we do direct email blast to? That's a great way to sell tickets.
Do we?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I start every fundraiser at work.
Okay.
Talk to the people who did it the year before.
Okay. Lisa?
So Chris and I are gonna be out of town, so we won't be here, but I'd like to buy 2 tickets for somebody.
Yeah, me too. That's exactly
Who
what
would
I
like
was
to
going
get there? Who wants 2 tickets?
Well, I really wanted
We can always give them to the interact.
Okay,
Well-
I'll buy 2 tickets for you. Okay.
Yeah, that's a great point. You don't have to go, just. buy the
Yeah,
tickets.
just spend the money.
Well, yeah.
And then AJ, how's the sign up genius going for
Oh,
that?
You can buy the tickets.
Yeah.
And we also need volunteers.
We do. So he's looking it up right now. Matt,
Probably us.
Saturday.
Saturday.
Not this Saturday.
Not this Saturday, week from
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
There are also, slots that need to be filled on previous days. So there's some cooking happening the day before, there's some shopping happening earlier in the week. So there are a bunch of other opportunities that aren't during the event. So check your email for the Sign Up Genius, which has gone out, so you have it.
And maybe we'll set it out and get, yeah,
And
okay.
the reality is, though, if we don't sell more meals, then we won't need.
Can you send out
So
the
let's start
Yeah.
before we.
Okay.
Yeah, just think.
I can.
People need to
That
people need to focus on.
I've just been sharing it on Facebook, but I will do, I will
Yes, buy tickets.
send it to your email.
The event page on Facebook has the ticket link, the website has the ticket link, it's pretty easy to buy and share.
And right now you can go to Rotary, sunriserotary.org, and right under it, there's a link, click to place your order. Add to cart.
And then what's the next?
What's your, what are the numbers? So there's a fellowship opportunity, October 16th. And then this came up in the board meeting because we all got new t-shirts that you spent $20 on. Yeah? Yeah? Okay. When it's appropriate to wear them.
I don't
So-
know that everybody bought them.
Not everybody.
One can.
Anytime you'd like. Next week, I'll put some more out.
There we go.
And then Scott bought one, so I need to, I said I was
Ashley
with
bought one as well.
Okay, cool. Oh, cool. So if you, there was a concern that if we show up as Rotary, we might be taking over an event that's not especially ours, like Black Humboldt or Kuna or the suicide awareness. If we show up all in the same t-shirts, it might be overwhelming. People might get it twisted, like if it's our event or not. But I think if you signed up on a Sign Up Genius, wear your t-shirt. If you heard about it in this room, wear your pin. But if you sign, like, so if we show up as a group, like they've asked us to show up. And so show up in your colors. But otherwise, just wear your pin, rock your, like, you know, be proud to be a Rotarian. That's how you participate. But at this, like, you know, just to. This is the 19th, we'll get to that. Dustin?
Yes, so it's actually, this is actually for something different, but thank you for the slide, that's also happening. But this Saturday is a webinar, it's this Sunday at 9 a.m. there's a webinar in honor of World Rivers Day. The Rotary International and the United Nations Environmental Program are getting together and collaborating over Adopt a River project. And so this webinar is going to be about how Rotary can impactfully adopt rivers and lakes and other areas, and then how the UN, their environmental program is also going to be a part of that, and how the collaborative partnership is going to work really well. So if you have more questions or you want to know more, you want the registrations that are sitting on the webinar, email me directly or text me or whatever, and I'll send you the link. That's this Sunday at 9 a.m. and it should be a really insightful program. And anyway, and hopefully a good direction that we can continue to go in environmental sustainability. So thanks. Thank you.
Look at these busy people.
I'll talk about Taste of the Holidays. So we had our first meeting, and I just want to give a quick shout out to all. Very thankful for all the people that came to the meeting. As I call out your name, just raise your hand. Dallas, Hannah, Lisa, Chris, Nick, AJ, Ryan Reeser, Angela, Sophie, Tom Tellis, and Jose. You know, I think this is going to be an amazing group. We've got a great core group there with those folks. Stephanie Lane couldn't make it. She's going to help do the setup. But so we have Taste of the Holidays. It's coming up November 17th. So mark all your calendars for November 17th. We are going to need a lot of help with setup and decorations and all that good stuff. So get ready and get there. We're also going to do a few things different this year. We're having some vendors fill up some raffle baskets. And so we're not asking and we're not getting everybody into teams like we normally do and asking for a donation to fill a basket. But what we might ask for is if some businesses want to promote a basket, that's fine, or sponsor a basket. So if you know of anybody, go ahead and let us know and let them get in touch with us. Or if you have a business, just tell us directly, okay? What else do we have? We have tickets, but we don't want to overshadow Oktoberfest, right? So
if you're there, just buy both.
Yeah, so our tickets are going to go on sale October 3rd is when we're going to do that. And we are going to give 10 tickets out to each club member to sell as we normally do. Brian Reeser, who's really good with numbers, I understand, is going to be keeping track of that. So, is there anything else that I'm forgetting?
Over there.
Yeah.
Just recruited Howard for setup.
Howard for setup. Fantastic. Well,
I actually mentioned you at the meeting that Howard always sets up.
Nice, all right.
Thank you. Okay, we have a quick little fundraising opportunity for our dear friend Lazo. So he brought us coffee last week. So I have.
What happened to that coffee?
It's right, hey. Just you wait. I have two opportunities because I like coffee in the morning and at night. So there's a chocolate decadence in here, flourless tort that pairs well with coffee. And then a scone and a croissant. So if it goes in breakfast, during breakfast. And all the funds are going to go to Lazo to support his Western safari, I think, or any activity he wants. Like this is just money for him. So,
Scone and coffee 50.
Once, twice, okay.
60.
Oh.
I'm sorry, is it two different things?
Yeah, they're two. Yeah.
I know, we're doing scone.
Okay.
Scone and coffee.
But that means the other one now is at 60.
Tort and coffee 100.
100.
Ooh, nice.
Scone and coffee.
I said tort.
Tort and coffee. Oh, tort.
Oh,
All right, 100. Now they're 60 and 100. Okay, it's done. So how are you accepting money? Want checks, cash?
You have Venmo?
No Venmo? We got a good cash.
Cash is best.
Cash is best.
Cash is always.
Yes.
Yeah, then we got
Thank you guys.
card for Dan.
Cecelia, are you on the call?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm right here. Can you guys hear me?
Hush,
Can you
guys.
hear me?
Yes.
Hi, yes. Good morning, everybody. How are you all doing?
No. Thank you. Huh.
Probably because she's got a slide up. So it's a
Oh, okay. Yeah. She's not muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, well, good morning, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I graduated from Arcata High in 2020, and I did Interact for 4 years. Right now I'm starting my 3rd year at UCLA. It's actually my first day of classes, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm a molecular biology major with a minor in public health. And yeah, let's see what I'm involved in. I'm on the pre-med track right now. I'm working with like a free clinic that helps people experiencing homelessness in Hollywood. And I work with a nonprofit that does like state and federal policy advocacy for youth experiencing homelessness, as well as I've done some research. I'm with some free resource drive, and yeah.
And she's killing it. 3.7 And it's not a light load. At pre-med and then public health too. So I don't know, any questions for her? Please come back to Humboldt when you're done. Well, congratulations. Thank you for all of your hard work. All right, we have a craft talk. I forgot I had a job.
Yeah, she is.
Go ahead. I'll find it.
I'm Pat. I have North Story Wines and Wrangletown Cider. I grew up here. My family moved here when I was 3 years old from Southern California. I worked in the wine industry for 15 years in Napa and Sonoma, but it took a while to get there. It took a long time to figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up. So I was a music major a million years ago, a voice major, and then I worked in banking. Sorry, AJ. But it wasn't me. Then I moved closer in the Northeast Bay to Napa, and I started taking classes at night at Napa Valley College and UC Davis, their remote program to learn how to ferment things and make things. And so I worked in that for 15 years. I worked in Napa and Sonoma, and I worked 2 harvests in New Zealand, which was amazing. And then I moved back in 2014. And I started Wrangletown Cider Company and North Story Wines. And so here's the initial, I worked for some big corporate wineries, and I worked for some really amazing small makers. The last 8 years at the bottom there, I worked for a consultant who was just incredible. Byron Kasuge, if you ever can find his wines and anybody he consults for, he was an incredible man. And when I left him, he said, "You're not just an employee, you were one of my friends." Sorry, that guy. So, you know, he taught me to never be dogmatic about my approach to making wine, where a lot of people are. It's like the same thing every time. It's a recipe, bum, bum, bum. It's you meet the harvest, you meet the grapes, you meet the material as it is presented to you each year, and you address accordingly. I was lucky to work with him in a place that's called a custom crush. That's where people who don't have a brick and mortar winery will come together and produce wine. And a lot of these are some of the best producers of wine you'll ever find. They don't have enough money to have this gorgeous estate, which doesn't mean it's great wine. It means that you're gonna make something really brilliant. And so that's where I was able to have a lot of conversations with different makers who were at the best of their game in terms of making what they do. It was a variety of clones, location and farming, location. I mostly work with Pinot Noir. So that is location, that is cooler climate and a different approach to winemaking. Pinot Noir, such brilliant. So. My beginnings, I grew up in Freshwater. Here's a little snippet of this, this dates me. There's Garfield School on the left. That's the school that they took down with it. It took a wrecking ball because they said it wasn't seismically able to withstand an earthquake, but it was interesting to see how much it took to take that thing down. And that was May Day in the early 70s. And there's some snippets of Freshwater now. And that's the time standard on the right that was being delivered on a horse in our neighborhood. And I still live in that house. I moved back and I moved back into the house I grew up in on Howard Heights Road in Freshwater. And Tom's been across the street with our friends Marceau and Nicole. Wrangletown cider. So I moved back because apples are a huge part of the history in this county. Local farms is what I want to represent. Seasonal production, I don't take juice all year. I just get it in the fall. I make something out of what it comes seasonally, where a lot of cider companies in the nation will just like year round, because you can get it industrially, they will just bring in trucks of juice. So my things are like hyper local. And I represent them as such. So each bottle will have like a name, orchard based, just like you would have Pinot Noir. This is from a certain vineyard. So that's what I like to do. Farmhouse style is dry. My ciders are dry with the exception of one thing I make, which is a pomo, which is kind of like an apple port. And so that's what I'm about. My wines. So having a wine background, it's the same license per the TTB and the ABC to make wine and cider. Cider is wine. It's made from fruit. So, and this is my 2019 Balo Vineyard Pinot, which is that what I came about? Got a bottle recently. And so, yeah, that's my wines. I always want to represent that. I did a bunch of things. These are one of my favorite things. Dogs. In 2009, actually beginning, I had a dog that was a problematic behavior issue. And I sought out some people that I got really in touch with who were some of the best behavioral trainers in San Francisco Bay Area, PhDs, veterinary behaviorists. And I got into dog training. So this was like, shoot. And there was a point where we had the fallout after 2008, where the wine industry took a hard hit and I lost my job. And because we were producing really expensive wines, and it was like my boss, who was a massive consultant, it's like, I can't afford to keep you on. So I delved into this. And so I went back to school and I took some classes, and I became a dog trainer and also puppy trainer and puppy socialization. This is a passionate interest for me. And it got me into psychology and things and considering other options. But these are some dogs I currently haven't had in the past.
And she helped me with my puppy.
Yeah.
So she's not Zola.
Okay,
Yeah.
socialize her, and there's a critical window with young dogs. These are the classes I took from a lot of PhDs and veterinary behaviorists, and I traveled for that too. I went to wolf ethology in Minnesota and in San Francisco, and worked with a lot of things. So if you have dog questions, hopefully. And yeah, this is me with harvesting apples when I first started down near the creamery. And now I am at the Machine Works next to Salt. And so come find me on the weekends.
Yeah.
And this is why I joined Rotary.
Token blue badge. Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. Pink. So now, without further ado, we have our speaker from Hospice of Humboldt. Anybody introduce her?
I can introduce myself.
Awesome. Do you want to push the buttons too?
I'll push the buttons too. Hi, everyone. It's so good. Hello. It's so good to see some familiar faces in the room. And also, I just want to let you know that I bought a ticket to Oktoberfest. I felt the pressure. I put on enough events in my career to know the pressure. And I don't eat very much meat, so don't buy in the food. It was just a straight donation. I also know that that is best as well. So anyways, I'm Tia Baratelli, the Director of Development for Hospice of Humboldt. Thanks so much for giving us the opportunity to talk a little bit about what we do. I'm sure almost everybody in the room, if not everybody, has heard of Hospice of Humboldt. You just took a picture. I like to smile.
I always get people when
Exactly. I'm gonna see that photo someday. I'll be like, oh. Okay. So I'm sure many of you have heard of Hospice of Humboldt, very well known in our community since we're the only hospice organization. We are also doing palliative care, which I will talk a little bit more about here. And just want to touch on, I know time is kind of running out. You all are very busy people. I commend you all for being up this early and doing all the amazing work that you do in the community. So I'm going to kind of move along. I just like to share some of our amazing staff. They are truly just at our organization for all the right reasons. Many of them, you know, RNs, they could be getting paid a lot more if they were working in the hospitals, but they truly enjoy the work that they do and really do it because of, you know, that people need hospice care at end of life. And I mean, it's why they went into, you know, medical field in the first place, and they really find the joy in it. And also there's our new CEO, Diane Keating. She's the one bottom right. She's been with the organization for over 21 years as our Director of Finance and Business Operations. And we're just so excited that she is our newest leader as of a couple months ago. So she's awesome and amazing. So just a little history. We've been serving our community since 1979. It was an all volunteer ran organization up until 1989 when it became Medicare certified, which means that we could start billing Medicare, which means we could have more money to hire more staff and be able to serve more people in the community. A pretty large capital campaign happened in the 2000s and kind of wrapped up around 2015, actually still bringing in a few donations of people who pledged to the capital campaign, which is awesome. It was all kind of mission driven project where we wanted to build a hospice house. We're very lucky to have a hospice house in our community. It actually very few hospices in California have a hospice house, and there are none in any rural areas like ours. And if you haven't seen the hospice house, I welcome you to come to campus. I'll give anyone a tour. It's beautiful. It's set in the redwoods, and I think there's a picture of it. So we just also are starting a new program, which is our home-based palliative care program. It's a little different than some of the palliative care programs that currently exist in Humboldt County, where we're actually doing home visits. Most of the other services are just, you know, just telehealth. And a palliative care, which I'll talk a little bit more about here in a moment, is kind of the, you know, not quite folks that are ready for hospice care yet, but are still seriously ill in our community and could really use the extra support of a team. Oh, so I just like to show off this picture because this is where we started. And this is where we are now. So that's what I was just talking about. So we have our, you know, administration building, and then the hospice house is in the middle. And then we have the Chapel of the Redwoods, which is available to all the families that we serve, and they can use it for memorial services. We've had weddings there. It's just really beautiful. Again, come by for a tour. Let's see, so we serve a 50-mile radius from Eureka. That's pretty common with hospice because we're 24/7, 365-day organization, and we have to be able to reach our folks at any time when they need us. So our current average daily census is about 130 patients. So those are folks that we're serving in their homes or wherever you call home. So we go out to skilled nursing facilities and residential care facilities as well. This also includes our palliative care patients and folks at the hospice house. We have over about 100 staff and nearly 100 volunteers, and certainly cannot do the work without their support. Totally local nonprofit, which is pretty rare in healthcare these days in Humboldt County. So we're pretty proud of that. Let's see, so just kind of the basics of, you know, hospice. I think one of the big misconceptions is that you don't need a referral. Anybody can call up hospice and we'll come out and do an assessment and see if it's the right time and, you know, the right program. And also, I think a lot of people think of hospice as in the final days or final week of someone's life. And really, we could be serving families for so much longer. And that's one of the biggest things we hear from family and loved ones is, I wish we would have called sooner, that we could have really been using that support for, you know, many months leading up. So it's just a huge team. I mean, that was one thing I didn't have before coming to hospice. I didn't have, you know, the real life experience, and I really did not understand how much went into the care that we provide. It's just this big team of folks and meet weekly and talk about patients, and it's really incredible. So shout out to all of those folks. So that's our hospice house again, and so there's several reasons why we wanted to build this hospice house and have it in our community, because before, when people were at home and they wanted to, you know, spend their final days at home, if there was any complications or having trouble, you know, controlling pain management or, you know, their symptoms, the only place they could go was the hospital. But now we're able to bring folks to the hospice house and get their symptoms under control, and then they can go back home. It's also a place for respite for families and caregivers. I mean, that's a big deal. It gives them a break. And so we can bring folks in for respite. You know, people have weddings to go to, or they want to take a vacation, you know, they need 24-hour care for their family members. And then also some people decide they want to stay at our hospice house until the end of life. So just a little more on palliative care. So we enrolled our first patient in mid-April, and we have about 25 patients currently on service. These are folks that, so with hospice, you have to have a 6 months prognosis left to live, and palliative care, we can, you know, extend that time. It is also totally mission driven because very few payers pay for palliative care. So only partnership, which is Medi-Cal and, you know, our area is called partnership, actually reimburse for palliative care. But we really saw the need in our community, and same with the hospice house. The hospice house also does not pay for itself because it's incredibly expensive to run, which is one of my jobs as the development director, is to bring in money for that, as well as this new palliative care program. We've been overwhelmingly generous from our community, as I've been trying to raise about $500,000 in the, you know, about a 2-year span, and we're up to about like $360,000. So just a little bit more left to raise, and I mean, it's truly going to be a really good thing. And we're already hearing that from families, like, oh my gosh, this is just a tremendous amount of support. Because what happens is you're seriously ill, you end up in the hospital, then you get sent back home, something else goes on, and then it's, you know, a revolving door. And we're really trying to stop that by getting to folks as soon as they leave the hospital, then we can be there to support them. They have this like bag of medication and they're like, oh my gosh, what do we do? And I'm supposed to go see this specialist and that specialist. And so the palliative care team really helps coordinate that care, which we all know, I mean, you know, navigating the healthcare system is difficult enough, let alone, you know, when you're seriously ill or a family member is seriously ill. So it's really great to be able to kind of hold on to these folks and walk them through the process. And then when they're ready, because you can also be seeking treatment still as a palliative care patient, which is different from hospice care, but it also helps that transition easier because when some folks come on to hospice care, they get better. Because they're getting support. And so before we would have to, for lack of a better word, kind of like kick them out of hospice. And, you know, and it was still, you know, that was really hard to do, but now we can transition them into our palliative care program and then move them back into hospice care when it's appropriate. All right, somebody give me a time. I don't want to take too much time here.
3 more minutes.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of move through these slides because I did bring materials. So if you're curious a little bit more about palliative care and who qualifies, as well as hospice and the hospice house, I'm just gonna leave that up there. So how we're supported is we are covered by Medicare and Medi-Cal and private insurance. However, our organization goes above and beyond and does all these other things that are not reimbursable, which is why we are out in our community asking for support. We also, the hospice shop is not far from here. If you are aware, it's right here on 6th Street. And it's amazing. And we get some revenue from that. And so any donations made to the hospice shop and anything you purchase helps, helps our organization. And just why support matters. We offer grief support services. I totally didn't touch on that, but not only for our hospice and palliative care patients and families we serve, it's open to anyone in the community. We're also able to serve people that are farther out because we've been doing grief support services by Zoom. So that's another great resource for our community. And I don't need to tell you how to get involved. You're all amazing volunteers and you do great work. But really, you know, we have lots of volunteer opportunities if you are interested in getting to know hospice better. Of course, just talking with family and friends. A lot of people don't like to talk about death. And, you know, it's going to happen to every single one of us. And so I think we need to just talk a little bit more about it and, you know, find out what is out there and how we can be supporting our families and loved ones. And of course, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't give a shout out to donate. And of course, becoming a monthly donor is really easy. And we have an amazing legacy program called the Circle of Hope. I also left some brochures up there about that, which is folks who have made plans in their wills or estates and left a gift to hospice. We've been very fortunate to receive some really nice gifts, and it really just helps us, you know, be more sustainable for the future. So with that, I will just take any questions. I feel like I ran through that real quick, but.
I want to come up for a second.
Yes, please.
I want to tell a quick story on a former member of us, Merrily by the River. She was the chief executive there at the time that the campus was developed. And when she first started, it was just trees. So who she called? Me. So I did all the permitting to take the timber stand off and do a conversion of the part of the ground from timber to campus. But the other part we could harvest because they have one of the most productive pieces of land in Humboldt County. They don't know this, but they do. These trees are 35 years old and they're like this big around. And so I did a selection harvest plan, which is a partial harvest. So we got in there and we did this selection. We got. Then Mary comes to me and she says, well, one of our estimates for roofing went up by quite a bit. Could we cut a little bit more? I said, well, actually, I went really easy on it in the first place because they have this, you saw the chapel in the slide, it looks out over the timber stand. So that's part of the ambience of what we're doing. We also did some safety. We got the trees back from the campus so they wouldn't hit the thing. But I said, yeah, there's actually been a change in the forest practice rules recently. So I can go down into the watercourse protection zone, and now I'm allowed to do a little bit more. Well, there were these legacy trees down there. So I could cut these 54 and 56-inch trees, along with a few others here and there. And so we made it a substantial increase in the income from the timber harvest. And they, again, don't know it, but they actually could harvest that again in the future. Generate some more income. I mean, you know, the way timber works around here, basically you can harvest a stand like that, what we did. Wait 15 years, you go back to what did you cut. So you can cut it again. That's why we do selection harvest. But anyway, we have a tie with it with Merrily. I have a personal tie because hospice was involved with my mother-in-law who was getting weekly care, but then she kind of recovered more than she was supposed to. And so now she's a phone call away, which we really appreciate. So anyway, I'm a big hospice advocate.
Thank you. Shout out to Mary Lee. I mean, she really was the driver of the capital campaign. And I mean, we wouldn't have that campus, beautiful place for our community without her. So.
And she was in a truck. They all know. And also spent years and years living in Mexico, volunteering with Project Amigo. And just was an angel when she was with us and an angel when.
Absolutely.
other?
And I worked at Planned Parenthood for about 12 years, and I saw that all those trees get cut.
I committed that too. For Danco.
And it was only because hospice was moving in that we were okay with it, because we were like, well, hospice is amazing. All right, we'll take it. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for having me.
All right, big win today is $40. But if not, you'll walk away with at least 5. And perhaps you'll also give me $1. So I'll let Matt choose.
Yeah,
Pick 2.
sweet. Okay. That's it. Okay, first number we got 820-656. 820-656. We got a winner.
Yeah. All right. Oh, no, you gotta get her.
All right,
next one.
Second one is 820-624.
624. Also,
624.
Let's see. You're gonna get $40 this time. Yeah, you did.
All right, Rebecca. Just a really quick key item today is California Native American Day. So if you have some time today to do a little research, or if you don't know about the terror attacks and want to look that up, and the goal of California Native American Day is to promote awareness and appreciation of California's Native Americans, to help educate surrounding communities about history, culture of Indigenous people. So there should be some info. I just found this on here. I follow the Taloa Dani is one of my Instagram feeds, and they do a lot of really good education on their Instagram. They mentioned that, and I thought I'd share that with you here.
And courts are closed, the judicial branch is recognized as a holiday. Executive and Indigenous People Day.
Rock Tribe invites the community at large to go to Big Food Sunday for informative canoe rides and how to smoke salmon. Sunday 9 to 3.
Okay. Lisa.
So, Backpack for Kids is coming up in 2 weeks. And we haven't done it here at our meetings in 2 years, 3 years, since we've been dark. But for those that you don't know, we gather all this food from the food bank for food for the people on Thursdays. And it's, we bring it here in the mornings, on Friday mornings. It's out there. We have our tables set up in that little room, and all the bags are there. And as everybody is leaving, people jump in and they start helping pack. We have cans of corn, we have bread, we have, fruit. Just
How many
lots of
bags do we
things.
sell?
We don't know how many.
But in the past, it's
been. End of last year, we had 59.
Yeah.
So, it's gonna be, I'm gonna send out a letter to everybody, it's gonna go to everybody, so if you have time before you go off to start your day on Friday morning, if you can stop in and help pack bags, that would be great.
How are these kids chosen? How are these kids chosen?
I'm sorry, pardon?
How are these kids chosen?
They are chosen, they actually through application, through Arcade Elementary, through Trillium Charter, and through Pacific Union. Those are the 3 schools that we have. And they fill out applications, they qualify, they're the less fortunate that don't get meals on the weekends. So that's why we make sure that we fill these bags so that they fit enough. But we will have someone that picks up on Thursday, so that John's gonna send out a sign up genius so that somebody can volunteer to pick up the food for the people on Thursdays. It's between 12 and 12:30. I'm gonna check that time because they've shortened it through COVID. It might be 11:30 to 12:30. You pick it up, hold on to it, bring it to a Friday morning to the meeting, you pack, and then we usually have about 2 people to deliver. And delivery is really easy. I mean, the majority of the bags go to Arcade Elementary, and you just kind of swing by there, and then you go down Foster, and go to Alliance, go over to Trillium, and then go around to Pacific Union, and you're on your way, it probably takes you 20 minutes to deliver the bags.
Tops,
And
tops.
so it's that we need people to help.
It's every week, yeah.
Every week. And well, there'll be sometimes like through the holidays, we won't have, but the sign up genius will have all the questions. So, any questions? Yeah, thank you.
So wait, before, two things.
One thing,
Oh.
so we're now up to 26 tickets sold, so. Post on social media.
So pay your dues. Pay your dues, at least half of them, or it's past due. Pay your dues. And then the next thing is,
For you, so you need to pay.
we've already paid for you. If you're here, yeah. If you're hearing me, we've paid for you already. And then Oktoberfest. Easy peasy, $25.
Yeah, and if you don't need to show up or you don't need that food, just buy a pack for the Interact volunteers that are helping out. And they get to eat too.
Yeah, right.
Or else we won't feed them. It's on you, it's on you.
Any last things? All right, go.